All right, good morning. Today we're gonna learn how to create a magazine cover in InDesign. We're gonna do just a really simple version of a magazine. We're gonna learn how to add text. We're gonna add a background image. We're gonna add a barcode, and we're gonna learn how we can change the opacity with certain text boxes to make our text easier to read. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna open up Adobe InDesign. And I'm going to make sure that all of my sections are set correctly. In this case, I'm going to create a new document. And once that comes up, I am going to create a one-page document. I do not want it to have facing pages because it's just going to be the cover of a magazine. So there aren't two pages that are facing each other. I'm going to leave the width and height as 8.5 by 11. Make sure the page size is letter. Make sure that it's set to portrait. I only want one column. That's a good gutter size, and then my margins will be about 1/2 inch each. So I'm happy with those settings that are pretty much set up. I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to open up my document. Remember that this purple box is going to act as my guide, and it's my margin guide. So we can just keep that on so that we know like where we really want our text to be. But remember that everything out here through the black rectangle, that's going to be visible to our audience. So the first thing I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to grab my rectangle frame tool. And I'm going to go up here to the very top left-hand corner of my document. And I'm going to create a rectangle by dragging down to the very bottom right corner. And once there, I'm going to let go, and I'll be ready to place the image that I got. I found an image online. You can also go to a website, stock.exchange. stock.xchng, and you can find images there that are royalty free. I'm going to go to File, Place, and here's the image I'm going to use. So I'm going to grab that image and go ahead and hit Open. And you can see that the image is too large for this rectangle. It's a good problem to have. And so we need to resize it. So to do that, I'm going to go to Fill Frame proportionally at the top of my document, right here, and it's going to fill my image so that it fits my frame perfectly. You also have the option then of taking your image and moving it, recentering it on your page. So if I wanted him to be over here to the left side of the document, right, I could do that. If I wanted him over here on the right side of my document, I could do that. Whatever you like the most. So, actually I think maybe I will have him offset a little bit towards the left side, and we'll see how that plays out at the end. I can always go back and change that around a little bit. Let's see, the next step, we're gonna add bleed to our document. So bleed is important because that causes our picture to extend beyond the edge of the page layout, and that's going to ensure that we have full color coverage, right? We don't want it to print out and have like a little white spot on the edge or anything like that. So to do that, all we have to do is we're going to make sure we grab our selection tool. We're going to click on our document so we have it outlined. We're going to go up to the X and Y coordinates, and we're going to just go ahead and type in about 1/8 of an inch. Instead, I'm just going to put -9 pt, and you're going to see my image slide slightly to the left on the x-axis, and if I put -9 pt on the y-axis, you're going to see it's going to slide slightly up on the y-axis. That does leave us this strange white area around here, but you can see what I've done on the side is I've created that bleed so that the image is visible all the way around. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to my width and height, and I'm just going to add 18 points. So I'm going to go point plus 1/8 pt, and you can see that now the bleed is equal on the width, and I need to add it to the height. So I'm going to go plus 18 pt, and now I've got some bleed on the bottom too. So that's what we want our document to look like before we go any further. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some layers. So I've already got my this layer 1 open. I'm going to call this background. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to set up 3 other layers. The 3 layers are going to be, I'm going to have a barcode eventually, so I'll make a layer for that. I'm going to need some boxes behind my text, so I'm going to do that. And lastly, the thing that I want up on the very top is my text. So it's important that your layers in this case are in this order, and you can move them around really easily by clicking and dragging. You'll be all set. So let's add some text to our magazine. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my type tool, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start up here in the very top corner near my margin, where my margin is, and I'm going to just drag a rectangle. Remember, I can always move that rectangle after the fact. And I'm going to just type in free edition. Okay, and I can go ahead and I can look, let's see, for a different font. I want something simple. Maybe I'll just go with this. Perfect. And I'm going to keep that. I'm going to increase the size to like 36. See how that works. I can stretch my text box out a little bit so that everything's visible. I'm going to decide that that's too big, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Still too big. Oops. There we go. There, I like that. And then I can just, if I feel like I want to, I can just resize that text box so it fits. I'm going to go back down and I'm going to actually create one more text box. This one's going to be smaller, and I'm going to align it with, I'll just align it with this text box. In fact, before I do that, I'm just going to grab this text box I created. I'm going to put it right up here at the margin. So it's at the top left-hand corner of my margin. Go back to my text box, add another little square, and in there, I'm going to put the date, which is November 2016. And in this case, let's actually move this up. I'm going to align it on the right side with the text I already created. I think I'll keep it nice and small. And I'm going to just align it to the right side. It's actually a little bit too much, so let's do this. This is why it is nice to make sure your text boxes are each the right size, because when you're aligning things, it'll make it easier. And I can just preview that, Shift W, and I'm content with how that's going to look at the top. Okay? I'm going to do one more thing up here with my text. I'm going to just show you real quick. If I wanted to, I can change the color of this very easily. Here's my font color. I can click there and select paper, and that might make it easier to read. You can obviously change it to any color you'd like and add some extra effects playing with any of these tools up here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another box, another text box, somewhere down near the middle of my page. To do that, I'll grab my type tool, and I'm going to do it from margin to margin. So, in fact, I'm just going to use I really do like my rectangle frame tool. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drag this right here. Then all I have to do is grab my type tool, click right in there, and it's ready to go. So the name of my magazine is going to be I Spin, and I'm going to change the font. So here, I grabbed a font that I actually downloaded, and I'm gonna just make a couple of changes really quick. Let's make this nice and large. This is our magazine cover after all. And let's go ahead. That looks good. I think I might want it even a little bit bigger. Let's just go with 100. And then I can go ahead and align it to the right side. I can do all that like in my paragraph tab. I've got that option, or I can change like the fonts and all of these different settings. You can play with all these different settings if you'd like. For example, if I wanted to change this, I could make it, see what happens. Nothing really, so nothing very exciting. All right, so there's my title. And again, I think I'll actually highlight that and I'll go and I'll change the color to paper again because it does look nice. It's easier to read and that's looking pretty good. I have had a few questions about fonts that are not available in InDesign. So let me show you a quick trick really fast. You can see all of these are original InDesign type options. And so like there's a lot of different options and some of them are very neat and you'll enjoy playing with them. If you wanted to download your own font, there's a site you can go to. It's called Dafont, DAFont.com, and you can see here's a couple of recently added fonts, but you can also like just scroll through and get an idea of different types that you might enjoy putting in using for one of your assignments. So again, this is just like the very beginning. There's just thousands and thousands and thousands of different types and fonts. So good luck navigating your way through it. But let's say that I found one that I really liked. Maybe this one I think is pretty neat. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say download, and you'll give it a second. Computer is still waking up. And it's gonna actually go through this download process. I already have a couple of fonts, so let me show you how I did it. So when it downloads, it'll download as a zip folder. It'll look like this. This is one of the fonts that I liked. And so when that downloads, you can drag it into your own folder or onto your desktop for a moment, and you're gonna right click and you're gonna say extract files. Okay, and it's going to come up with this box and you can just say extract and replace files and then hit OK. So then once it extracts, right, it'll be in a folder like this. And all you have to do is you're going to take the OpenType font file, right click, and you're going to hit install. And when you click install, then it'll automatically install it into InDesign. And so you can see right here that Beauty and the Beast font, there it is, in alphabetical order in InDesign, and I could use it anytime. In fact, we can even take this font, Astro 867, and let's see what this would look like if I did Beauty and the Beast. And so you can see, like, the type that you choose can have a significant impact on the way that your document looks. So for now, I'm going to stick with this one. I'm happy with it. And I'm going to continue adding some text on my document. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to create another text box. For this one, I'm just going to have it, maybe I'll start it just in the middle of this one, and then I'll have it come all the way across. And in this one, I'm going to grab my text. Notice I stayed within the margin. And I'm going to say, I'm going to write like guide to a successful record displaying, let's say volume 1, and I'm going to take that, and you can just going to go ahead and push that over to the right hand column as well, and I can look at it and decide that that actually should be a little bit higher. That's totally fine, easy to do. Alright, looks good for right now. And then I'm going to add like another text box. I'll have that go right around here. And again, I'll grab my type tool. And for this one, I'm going to say behind the scenes of this summer's biggest parties. How about the greatest DJs ever? Exclamation mark. And again, I'm going to have everything pushed over to the right side of my document. And then let's do one more. This one will just keep a little bit simpler. We'll just come down here. Say add some text. Let's say featuring. And then how about Nelly? DJ. All right, and we can decide to add like a little bit more space between each of those, whatever we want to do. So we'll get back to that in a second. So let's align this also to the right so we keep it consistent. And I think the next step is we need to just adjust our text really fast. So I'm going to increase the size of my text. And you can change like the colors, fonts, and sizes. They're totally up to you. The key is that we want them to be easy to read. So I'm going to just change my font sizes to 14. Here we go. Let's do that down here too. And I might actually make these ones even a little bit bigger. Let's go with 16 point. And I'm going to have this be the font color of this one be white or paper. I'll also do the same thing for Nelly. Change Moise to paper as well. And then now I'm going to add some background. So the first one is the title. Let me grab my rectangle tool. I'm going to go to my layers. So remember, I added my text on my text layer. Now I'm going to add some boxes. So I'm going to go to my boxes layer. I'm going to grab my rectangle tool, and I'm going to highlight. You're going to make sure that you're really happy with everything first before we start adding our boxes. It'll be hard to change in the future. So actually, just really quickly, I'm actually not totally satisfied with the placement of everything. So I'm going to just highlight each of my boxes. I can hold down Shift and then select all of them at the same time. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to push second, I grab my background as well. There we go. I'm gonna move this down a bit. In fact, actually, maybe I'll leave the title there. And I'll move this down a little bit, and then I'll move that down a little bit. And then I'll move these down a little bit. Okay. And change just the, okay, so let's add some colorful boxes in the background. So I'm going to click on my boxes layer, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a box. I'm going to change the color to black. I'm going to make sure I've got no border color. That's not what I wanted to do. Alright, so I'm going to change my color to black. I'm going to make sure I'm on my boxes layer. I'm going to grab my rectangle tool. And I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to start above my title. And I'll go about the same amount below. I'm going to go from edge to edge of my document, including the bleed. And I'm going to insert that black box. Now that doesn't look that great because, well, it covers my image entirely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my effects palette, which is right here. You can also grab that effects palette in Windows if it's not highlighted and just click on effects. And I'm going to change the opacity here from 100 and I'm going to just sort of curve it down, right? And so again, let's make sure that we are only on our boxes layer. Actually lock my background and my text layers. Only on my boxes layer. That's the only thing I have highlighted. Go to effects. Alright, now that sort of made it so that I can see through this. You might even decide that, you know what, I want it to be more see-through. And so you can find what's right for you. So it's looking kind of neat right now. Let's keep going and add some more colorful boxes in the background. So the next one is I'm going to do this right here. I'm going to grab my rectangle tool. It actually made my life a little easier. I might even lock my barcode layer just so I know I'm only working on the boxes layer. It's the only one I'm allowed to work on. And I'm going to just add another text box right here. This one, actually, I'm going to change the color to make it red. And I'm going to start it at the very edge of the page. And there we go. I just added that. I'm going to actually go in here really quickly. I'm going to do two things. I need to go back to my text layer and unlock it. Go in here. Hello. I'm going to just highlight where it says volume 1, and I'm going to change that text color just for the heck of it to black. And I might actually, just looking at this, increase the font color or font size. So there we go. I'm happy with that. Next, let's go down here. Let's create another box. Let's make sure that we are not on our text layer. We're going to go to our boxes layer, grab my rectangle tool, and this one, we'll just go right here around it. And I'm going to just, even if you didn't change the color before, you can change it after. And then we're going to use the same effects that we did before, only this time I'm going to change that to, let's just do something really light, like 30. Now let's even go lighter than that. Let's go 20. Okay. So there's that. You know, I might actually change this color. Maybe let's actually go to our swatches palette. Actually going to change it to there we go, there. I'm going to change it to that gray. Bear with me. There we go. There, I like that a little more. And then I'm actually going to just increase the opacity now. A little bit more. There. Looks a little better to me. And then down here, let's just create a small box. Go back to my layers, make sure I'm on my boxes layer, grab my rectangle tool. And I'm just going to create a box for Nelly. And let's just stick with red. Make sure that my reds are the same. I'm going to do the same thing for Moise. I'm going to stretch his out a little bit further, just for the heck of it. Let's see how that looks. And again, we'll just go down and select red. And then right here in the middle, create one, only this one, let's make it paper. Cool, so that's looking pretty good right now. Let's go next and let's add a barcode. So barcodes are easy to find online. We can just go, by the way, my font downloaded, so let me just show you how that looks. I'll just minimize this screen a little bit, close that. Again, very simple. I'm just going to drag this out here onto my desktop, open it up, find the OpenType font file, right click on it. Oh, sorry. Right click on here, extract files, hit OK. Give it a second to download. Here's the file that just downloaded, or the folder. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to just go ahead and right click on the open type font file, and I'm going to say install. It's going to install the file, and then I can go to back into my InDesign and watch this let me grab my type tool really quickly, and it should be sorry, what was the name of it again? Let's see. Oh, it's M Ponderosa. So let's see, under M, there it is, M Ponderosa. So if I selected that and I just wanted to, let's just see what it would look like. Didn't increase the size. So you get an idea of what that looks like from before. And so that actually looks pretty neat. And again, you could like see what that would look like if you, oops, sorry. If you grabbed your text tool and you wanted to change the color of it, get it away from that bright light. So that's kind of a neat option too. So that was M Ponderosa if you like that look. All right, so going back to where we were at, let's get a barcode. I'm just gonna do a Google search and just barcode generator, that works. And here's one right here. I mean, there's plenty. So each one will create something a little bit different for you. Let's see what this one will create for us. We don't want to create a QR code. We want to create like a standard barcode. And then you can say like I spin by, let's see if it'll allow me to do the period. And there you go. So that's it. So right there, I can choose if I want it small, medium, or large. I think medium's gonna be fine. I'm gonna download it. There's my barcode. Again, I'm just gonna minimize that for a second, drag my barcode out here to the desktop. Notice I put my name on there just so it would be easy. I'm gonna wanna put my barcode on the bottom left-hand corner of my document. So I'm just going to go File, Place, Desktop, find my barcode. There it is. Open, and then I can just take a second and I can drag it. It's gonna be too big, probably. Yes, way too big. So let's try that again. I'm gonna start lower this time. I guess I can even just do, there we go. So there's my barcode. And we can hit Shift W to look at our final design. There's also a good option to sort of look at how you feel about each of like your text options and whether or not you like the look of it, or whether like there's something that you might want to change. If there is something that you want to change, you can just go back, take a second and do that. You know, I might even decide, instead of having that single box right there, maybe what I'd rather do is have, here I'm actually going to, yeah, let's do white. Maybe I'll create something here like this, and I'll copy and paste it. Grab my selection tool, drag this down. So there's a little space between each one. I'll go to my effects, change the opacity. And then let's see what that looks like. And that's kind of cool because now it's got that like broken line in there. And there you go. So again, have fun with this, right? You're creating your own magazine cover. It should be similar to this in nature, but again, you have a lot of room to play in terms of like what sorts of fonts you want to use, the different colors that you want to use. You get the opportunity to add a barcode. I encourage you to check out some different fonts that you could even download and import into InDesign, and again, just have fun.